Hello and welcome to another episode of Tech Enthusicast. I'm Neil.
And I'm Simon.
This week we've got quite an interesting concept for some headphones to start the conversation.
I love a pair of headphones.
Yeah. And these are quite weird ones. It's a concept by Sony. They're actually called Concept 10. And they don't go in or over your ears.
Do you know what instantly struck me about this idea?
What?
I was running the other day, and at the minute I use some Sennheiser in ear. And I'm thinking about when I'm doing, the 7-day run. I was thinking, am I going to have to put some kind of skin lube in my ear? Because after a while, in-ear headphones really begin to rub.
Right.
So then when I saw this Sony headphones audio without having to put something in the ear, I was thinking, perfect solution. Why has nobody done this before?
Yeah.
Well, I assume it's because the technology doesn't exist to actually make headphones without putting audio into your ear, putting the buds into your ear. But no, I really like the idea. Describe to me what it looks like, because I obviously can't see the picture.
Well, you and I both currently use some Bluetooth headphones that are essentially a collar.
Yeah.
And then cables come off the collar and go into your ears for inner ear headphones. It basically looks like the collar, but without the cabled headphones.
And then it just projects the audio upwards into your ear.
Upwards, but apparently in a way that only you will be able to hear, which is the bit that baffles me.
Have you ever been anywhere where they've done directional sound?
No, I can't say I have.
It is really weird. Because you're just walking on that, oh, what was that? It is honestly really strange.
Yeah.
But what I also like the idea of, apparently this technology allows you to hear environmental noises still.
Oh, right.
So
well,
unlike perhaps traditional headphones where environmental noise is blocked out, you get the audio from the headphones and environmental noise.
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely a need for that now, because when running, I really do need to be able to hear what else is going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a really nice idea. I know headphones now, they do the thing, my Sennheiser ones do it to some extent, where you can hear outside noise.
Yeah.
But then it sacrifices the audio you're listening to for the sake of that.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to hear a pair of these Sony, just to see how it balances environmental noise versus actually listening to the audio.
Sorry, that was my phone.
Come on, Neil. Give me a second, get it on silent.
Rookie error. Never mind.
The only bit I was upset by is the fact that Sony have said it is a concept.
Yeah.
And they're not going to bring it to market yet.
Yeah, but I suppose it gets it in the conversation, doesn't it? And shows you what is possible. Like when you see all those crazy concept cars that never come to market.
Yeah, you generally see a derivative of the concept car eventually. Because I must admit, when I went to Geneva Car Show years ago, there was gorgeous cars that have never seen the light of the day. And it's a real shame, because they seemed so futuristic, and just thought, wow, I'd love a car like this. And yeah, they just never get released. But now, if they do come out, I will definitely be interested. Always interested in testing a new pair of headphones. Still trying to find the ideal running pair of headphones. Might be buying another pair of headphones this week. I don't own enough headphones, it appears.
Yeah.
I need more and more headphones.
It'd make audio tours quite interesting. You know, when like you go to somewhere where they do an audio tour and you have to wear headphones for stuff like that. Or even, you mentioned recently going to the cinema. For you, when you've had the
audio,
what do you call it? The audio description.
Yeah.
If only you can hear it.
That's how it works at the cinema now. Yeah. But I suppose that'd just be a different way. As soon as you said it then, the use case I thought is, I went to the theatre a few months back, and then there was an outdoor theatre event going on, and people were wearing headphones. Right. So what would be interesting if the headphones gave you some atmospheric noise, and then you could still hear the people, the actors as well.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got two audio tracks.
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting to do. See, I think it would open up some really interesting, very specific use cases. as well as just wearing them when you're on the bus or in the car or on a bike.
Yeah.
Or day to day.
Because even with inner ear headphones, sometimes if you're on public transport or something, it can be like, oh, I can't really. The hustle and bustle is so loud that I can't really hear what's going on with on my headphones anyway, despite the fact that they're in my ear. And you just think, how can this work in such a way that it'd eliminate that problem?
I think that's part of the reason I missed my tram stop today. Because I had my headphones in, I had to turn them up loud enough to drown out a lot of the background noise so I could hear what was going on. And then I perhaps did hear the tram announcement a little bit too late, and I was like, oh, missed my stop. So it would be interesting to see how it does balance that.
And they probably haven't figured all that out because it is a concept.
And also interesting as well, when you've got your headphones in, people don't like to approach you.
Yeah.
So perhaps this would remove that barrier. But then maybe I'd get annoyed that I'm like, I'm listening to my music, people. Stop talking to me.
Yeah, you actually want that social barrier in some ways sometimes.
Definitely. So what else has been in the news then, Neil? Or what's intrigued you in the news?
Well, there's been a game, an ancient Chinese board game going on, which doesn't sound very technological until you realise that one of the players is a computer.
Yeah, a fantastic project by DeepMind. I was excited to see it because they reckon it's more generalised artificial intelligence. Because it's not using search algorithms, it is supposedly learning.
Yeah. And
it teaches itself and also takes cues from human play to train it.
Yeah. And I think some of the commentators on it, if anybody's unaware, it's an ancient Chinese game called Go. And the software they're using, on the DeepMind they're using, is called AlphaGo. And the thing they say about Go is that it's a very, very, very complex game, far more complex than chess. I think they say there's something, I'm sure I heard this quote, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but they say there's more move combinations in Go than there are atoms in the known universe.
I think the reason it's complicated is because the number of moves, it can't be beat from a search computational approach like chess can.
Yeah.
So it has to use intuition to do moves.
Yeah.
Which is why they believed artificial intelligence wouldn't be able to win or beat a human because of the need for intuition. But as we've found out now, it was a tournament of 5 games. It won the first 3, so it's officially the winner. But humans managed to claw one back. It currently stands at 3-1 with the final game to play, we think, tomorrow. So yeah, I'm interested to see if we can pull it back as 3-2. But I was reading something today. Do you know apparently he's not considered the top human player?
I know he's a 9-dan player because it's almost like black belts to a certain extent with the game of Go. But yeah, I think he's considered by some to be the world's best, but he's at the top level.
Yeah, it's because apparently he's the most prestigious, longest career player. Whereas there's this real young upstart, I think he's 18 years old, which people believe to be the best player. So now he's saying that he reckons he could beat AlphaGo, and he'd like to have a crack at playing against AlphaGo.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if another human can come along and beat AlphaGo.
Yeah, I mean the commentators said that they noticed a difference in gameplay from over the game. So game 1, the DeepMind played different to how it did in the games after that. So it was obviously apparently learning from the games it had already played.
Yeah, the reading I've done on Deep Blue. Was it Deep Blue?
Deep Blue, yeah.
Deep Blue, the IBM chess computer.
Played Garry Kasparov.
Yeah, beat Kasparov as well, didn't it? Although it didn't in the first game.
No.
It was the following year that it came back to win in 97.
Yeah.
I've lost my train of thought.
It was about it learning from its mistakes. Nope.
Oh, that's it. Right, okay, yeah. the computers are capable of doing really unorthodox play.
Yeah.
Whereas humans generally stick to quite, tried and tested particular styles.
Yeah.
So it's the unorthodox play by Deep Blue and AlphaGo, they say, can throw human players off.
Yeah.
Because it's something they've not seen before.
Yeah.
And apparently, after Deep Blue, people started calling it like computerized moves.
Oh,
so because then human players began to adopt these really unorthodox moves, and they're saying that young chess players now use these really unorthodox moves
because their gameplay's been influenced by
the computer, because now they play against phenomenal artificial intelligence players. So it'll be interesting to see now, if we're at a point where AlphaGo can continually beat humans, can the humans then learn from AlphaGo and begin to create this unorthodox play into their playing style?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it really would, and we need to remember it's a great achievement because humans obviously created AlphaGo.
Yeah.
And now it's able to beat this particular, it's beaten 2 champion Go players now.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy. It's always interesting. And also it's a great chance to, drop in the fact that I met Demis. Is it Habivis? Habivis? God, I can never say his name.
Yeah.
But because the fact I can't see, I didn't realise it was him. I was sat down, he came over and sat next to me, started chatting, and I was about to go and speak. So we're just, exchanging pleasantries, talking about the day and stuff. So then I spoke, and then he went on stage after and was like, "Oh my God, I had no idea who that was." But I also did that with Scott Jurek as well. So Scott Jurek came to talk to me, then I started talking and someone nudged me and went, "Simon, it's Scott Jurek." And I was like, what? Well, it's not very often people will go over and say, "Hi, I'm da-da-da. I suppose people, maybe sometimes they do, but in more social situations like that, people just start chatting.
Yeah.
And so always great to meet someone huge in the tech scene, but even better when you actually know you're talking to that person rather than just having some general chit chat. The news I wanted to bring up, one of my always favourite topics, the Raspberry Pi. It is Pi Day in America.
Yeah, we do dates differently in the UK and the rest of Europe. The rest of the world, in fact.
We do it the right way in England. And, whenever I have to send something off, and I have to do a date format, I'm always careful to write June. Yeah. Instead of doing it in number form, so people know, because I'm like, oh God. What was I was filling something in the other day. Oh, that was it. A booking agent in America was doing my flights, just needing my date of birth.
Yeah.
I sort of wrote it down in English format, sent it, and thought, no, I could have put out the wrong date of birth. Because if you flip it around, it's still an American date, my date of birth.
Yeah.
So then I had to reply and send the proper thing. So Pi Day, they've announced a low power hard drive that works with a Raspberry Pi 314 gig low power drive for an introductory price of $31.
Wow.
I know you can buy 1 terabyte drives for that price point now, but certainly nothing super low powered. And it's really interesting to see Raspberry Pi specific hardware becoming more popular and expanding the devices, because at the minute I have to run a USB hub with a hard drive in it to provide enough power for it to spin up to work with the Pi. So for it to become this complete low power solution, fantastic. I'm even tempted to swap over to their 1 terabyte version to make it truly, or at least run a backup system with the 1 terabyte low power and just plop it somewhere and have it backing up all my essential files. Continues to impress. It's unbelievable how cheap computing can be, really, because you think about
high-powered computers, and for a lot of that stuff, you can get away with using something small and compact and low-powered like a Raspberry Pi.
Well, the Intel, compute on a stick. Have you seen those compute on a stick devices? It just plugs in through HDMI. They're fantastically powered now. So now, I think for around $150, you can have an Intel-powered computer plugged into your TV.
Crazy.
I wish computing had been that cheap when I was a kid. It's definitely moving forward.
Yeah.
But talking about Intel leads me to think of Windows, which makes me think of Microsoft. What Microsoft news is there, Neil?
Well, Xbox have announced cross-platform multiplayer play. So, as it stands usually, if you're on a PlayStation and you play something like Call of Duty online, you are only playing against other people on the PlayStation. There are exceptions where you can maybe play against people on a PC as well as the console you're on. But Microsoft are now saying that in the future, and if it is supported by the other platforms, if you develop a game for Windows 10, then it will work with cross-platform play. So they're baking it in there, and it's up to the developers and the other platform holders to kind of incorporate it, which is quite interesting because especially now with the consoles kind of flipping, Xbox is less popular this time round than PlayStation is, and it was the reverse last time. So you've got some people who've changed platforms, other people who've stayed with the platform they were with. So you've got friends who were on your friends list before, aren't anymore. So you may not be able to play against them. With this, you would, which...
yeah, that was just it. You were going to go with the platform that your friends had.
Yeah.
Just so you could play with them.
Yeah.
Whereas
and
now, we've seen this open up.
Yeah, and I think when the new consoles came out a few years back, I remember listening to gaming podcasts, and they were getting asked every week, which should I go with? Should I get PlayStation or should I get Xbox? And the answer they would generally go with is go on the platform where your friends are, because there's not that much difference, and if you're wanting to play with your friends, then you need the same console as them.
You know what? I think me and you have both been rooting for Microsoft for years now.
Yeah.
Because as much as Microsoft was a bad guy for a long time, they still release some fantastic stuff.
They really do.
And we were hoping that there'd be a new direction, they'd be more open. And when Barmer left and Satya Nadella took over, we're seeing the Microsoft of the future.
Yeah.
Cross-platform stuff now is fantastic.
Yeah, and this is kind of what they promised a long time ago with Windows 8, that if it worked in one place, it'd work everywhere, and they never delivered on that. And it seems like they're trying to make it a thing now with Windows 10.
Well, I'm starting now to prefer Microsoft apps on my iPhone.
Really?
Yeah, Microsoft. Well, I say iPhone, iPad actually, but Outlook, fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a great email experience on the phone and the iPad. Microsoft Word on the iPad, fantastic, except because I got the iPad Pro, of course you've got to pay for it, annoying. Yeah, these apps are solid, fantastically inclusive. Obviously Microsoft Word, as much as I wish it perhaps wasn't the dominant document format, it is. So I have to play ball. I do prefer OpenOffice on the desktop, but often DocX sort of documents do just get messed up. So the fact that I've now got the ability to do it on my iPad, and it's one of the best word processors I'd say for the iPad, although Ulysses just got released the other day, yet to test that, so I can't say whether that's inclusive or not, but that gets a lot of love. It's fantastic. I'm loving it. But to go back to the gaming sort of issue, what do you think then about the different control systems? So I could be playing against someone that's using an Xbox pad, a PS4 pad, and mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
Is someone going to have an advantage?
Well, I guess it depends what kind of game you're playing, really. A lot of people would say that for shooters, if you're playing with a mouse and keyboard, then you've got the advantage because you've got more granular control. But a lot of a lot of people now playing, and not necessarily for shooters, but a lot of people playing games on PC are using either an Xbox or PlayStation pad anyway.
Well, I can remember when I was playing Counter-Strike, so that was when I was, oh my god, I'd have been like 18. Wow, that is an old game. So when I was playing Counter-Strike, I was mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
And this kid joined our clan who used an N64 pad. And he was incredible.
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't believe someone was that good with an N64 pad, but had grown up on GoldenEye.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, GoldenEye was, I'd say, one of the first FPSs which really made multiplayer popular.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people would go around someone's house with an N64 and do 4-player GoldenEye. That game got played to death, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did.
God, but talking about old games, Blizzard, I know we're getting some really good connecting the stories today, Neil.
Aren't we just?
We're doing well. Blizzard releasing a patch for Diablo II.
Yeah.
16-year-old game getting a patch. Do you think this is because retro games are becoming popular? People are going back to old games, realising that, gameplay does trump all. It's not all about graphics.
Yeah, I think it does, and you do get some old games that just continue to be played. That you get communities that build up around a game, and then a sequel comes out, and they don't actually care because they're having that much fun playing the previous game that there's not that much appeal to the sequel, really. I mean, when Microsoft turned around and said they were shutting down the servers for, was it Halo? One of the old Halo games, they were basically saying you're not going to be able to play it any longer because the only way we can advance as a platform is to shut these old servers down and prevent you from playing those games so that we can improve things in the future. And there was a community of people that continued playing the game. And the service should have gone off, but because they were still playing on it, it couldn't go off, and they carried it on for like 6 or 7 days afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, after the shut off time. But I remember listening to podcasts at the time, and like Major Nelson, who's like the face of Xbox, was like giving them a shout out and saying, "It's amazing what you guys are doing. We know it's not going to go on forever, but just keep it up for as long as you can because we're all kind of rooting for you in a weird way." But yeah, so I think there's a lot of retro game. There's a lot of retro style gaming, and I think when you've built a community up around a game, people are going to be attached to that game.
Well, yeah, I adored Ultra Online. I played that game, relentlessly for years.
Yeah, I remember.
And even then, I was playing on unofficial servers.
Yeah.
Because they begun to change the game so much for the official release that people liked the old version of the game.
Yeah.
So unofficial servers popped up and you were playing the old game on unofficial servers.
Yeah.
And I invested more money in the unofficial servers because I loved that version of the game so much than I did when I was playing the game on the official servers.
Yeah.
Which is crazy when you think about it. I must have sunk a few £100 into playing it on the unofficial servers.
Yeah, I remember at the time and looking at the game and thinking, what does he see in this? Because I was playing World of Warcraft at the time.
Yeah, but it was community.
Totally.
Me and Andy were playing it relentlessly. And, we knew the game so well that then it was so quick, to create characters.
Yeah.
That then you'd start to make interesting templates just to see what this really random template of a character could do.
Yeah.
And it just became about that, about really beginning to do things in the game that when it was on the official server you didn't really have time to do, because basically the new server allowed you to create characters slightly quicker.
Yeah.
So it was just a great chance to really play around with different characters and enjoy the game using the old style gameplay, but in a slightly different way. So no, it was a lot of fun. If I could still see, I would probably be playing Ultima Online still, much to Sean's dismay.
Yes, I can imagine. Well, if we're talking about retro gaming, there's been a bit of a storm in a teacup in a way, but just a crazy story surrounding something.
I wouldn't even say it's a storm in a teacup. It's just, I can't believe they did it.
Yeah. Well, once upon a time, there was an idea for a gaming console, a retro gaming console called the Retro VGS. And they said they were going to have a Kickstarter, and it was going to be this big thing. It was going to be, the whole thing they were saying it was on was, we've got Atari Jaguar, we've got the rights to use these Atari Jaguar shells. We're going to put a retro-style video game system in it. It won't connect to the internet. There'll be no updates. We're going to ship games without bugs. I don't know what they thought they were talking about there.
Did they ever play a retro game?
Games were going to be on cartridges and everything. It was going to play some retro games, some retro Nintendo games, and just loads and loads of retro games, plus new retro-style games was the whole idea behind it.
Yeah.
And then things went quiet, and nothing really happened for a while. And then they got a new announcement, and Calico, or Calico Holdings, announced that the Retro VGS was now going to be called the Calico Chameleon. Now, Calico was the ColecoVision was a console. I don't think we really had it over here. Do you remember it particularly?
I only remember it from back when I began collecting.
Yeah.
And someone brought one to me.
Oh, right.
That was the first time, because we were in playtime.
Yeah.
And someone brought one in. And they wanted to sell it to us, and the shop wasn't particularly interested. And I was like,
yeah,
I don't really know
enough about it
to really, because I think, they weren't going to accept £5. So I was just like, it never really was big over here.
It wasn't a thing, was it? No. But anyway, Calico, over the past couple of years, they have released a few things. Like they released a handheld console a few years back, which came with like 20 preloaded Calico games on it that you could play and stuff like that. So they've been doing a few things recently around their brand and around retro gaming. So basically, they just announced we're in with the Retro VGS, guys. It's now going to be called the Calico Chameleon. It's going to play old ColecoVision games, amongst other things. At Toy Fair, which was only a few weeks back now, they showed it off, but it was under a plastic dome. You couldn't get at it, touch it, or anything like that. And you were allowed to take photos of it from under this kind of plastic dome. Then people started looking at the photos that people had taken.
Before you go too far, Neil,
go on.
You've missed out the first prototype. The demoed.
Oh, what was that?
The demoed the first prototype, and they'd taken the SNES.
No, this is that. This is that.
Is it? I thought you were going to talk about.
No, it wasn't a see-through console. It was a console under a see-through dome.
Oh right, sorry, my bad.
It's all right. So basically, people started looking at the photographs and went, okay, so this is a weird looking. It's like the Jaguar shell, but there's weird bits of duct tape everywhere, and it looks a bit weird and funny. And those ports on the back look like they're in the exact same configuration as a SNES Junior.
Yeah.
And so people started saying, have you just put a SNES Junior inside a Jaguar shell?
No.
And they were going, no.
Why would we do that?
No, we haven't. And so people started asking to know what was in it and for them to be more transparent.
Have you seen the photos of this?
I haven't actually, no.
I was going to say, because they managed to do the SNES as a system on a chip, and I can't remember if that was the SNES Junior.
I'm not sure.
So it was literally a chip.
Yeah.
So yeah, it must have been pretty obvious.
Yeah. So, yeah, so basically they took the idea of being more transparent, quite literally, and released some photos on the Calico Chameleon website and on the Facebook page of a clear Jaguar shell with some bits of electronics inside of it. So it looked like, yeah, this is what is inside our console. Here's the actual thing. Look, it's not a SNES Junior. And then people took a look at those photos and were kind of looking at it and saying, is that not this particular type of PCI capture card? And then all of a sudden, the photos got removed from the Facebook page.
You know what I find? It's just, do they not appreciate that people are going to type in the serial numbers you can see on the chip in Google?
Yeah. Or do they not appreciate
tells you
how
what chip it is?
Yeah. Do they not appreciate how nerdy the video game community is?
I know,
and that they will actually just recognise what those things look like.
It's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Twice they've tried to pull off a fake.
Yeah.
Pass it off as something legit.
So words got back to Calico, who actually seemed to be bothered about protecting their brand, and said, look, we've heard all this stuff going around on the internet. We're going to send some independent investigators in to the Retro VGS guys, and we're going to look what they've got, and we're going to report back. They can't reschedule this. The only people who can reschedule it or increase the timescales are the independent engineers that we're sending in. We will be back to you within 7 days with news. So then they went to Retro VGS, and Retro VGS went, yeah, we've not really got anything that we want to show you right now because it's not ready. So that's what it is. It's not ready. It's not that we haven't got anything. It's that it's just not ready yet. We're not ready to show you it yet. So as a result of that, Calico have just kind of pulled out completely. If you now try to search for the Calico Chameleon or Retro VGS on the internet, you will find nothing.
How would they manage to remove it from the internet so quickly?
I've no idea. But the bit I missed out actually was this was supposed to go for a Kickstarter at some point as well. And the new rules for Kickstarter is for any hardware, you've got to have a working prototype.
Yeah.
And Kickstarter never happened. And that is because clearly they didn't have a working prototype.
Yeah, got to prove it, haven't you?
Yeah. And it's so bizarre because it's such a niche little piece of hardware that wouldn't have sold mad guns anyway. It would have had like its little community around it. But the story's just so crazy. It's just kind of captured people's attention.
You wouldn't have thought you could even get away with this nowadays.
No.
But it comes back to quite a few of the really sort of adventurous Kickstarter projects. People seem to believe they can do these really elaborate, massive projects with no prior experience. And arguably, when like Steve Wozniak created the Apple Mac, it'd never been done before.
No.
But you need to be good. You need to be phenomenal. I imagine, to make hardware from scratch.
Exactly. You've got to have something behind you, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to come up with an idea and then just try and... Because they've obviously sat there as a group and said, right, how can we fake this? And someone's gone, well, why don't we just pop a SNES in a Jaguar shell?
Yeah.
They've actually sat down there and thought of doing that.
Exactly, yeah. It's not like somebody's just gone, I've told them I've got something, but I haven't really. I'll just pop a SNES Junior in a Jaguar shell, and I'll get away with it. People must have known. It's not like it was one engineer just thinking, I've been sat eating cookies and watching YouTube videos instead of working on this thing.
Well, did you read that really long document about why that little personalised drone failed on Kickstarter that raised 2-point-something million?
No.
That was... Just comes back to this, really, where they had no experience of doing these things. Said they did. They had worked on these things but had never delivered a successful project.
Yeah.
But then said, we totally know what we're doing. And then began the design process and nothing worked.
Right.
And even with nothing working, they then just put in the manufacturing processes to make like 50,000.
As you do.
Yeah, because they didn't want the propellers to be late, so they made it all. Then when it gets delivered, none of it works. And it's just, why are you making these decisions?
Yeah.
Delay if you have to, and just make sure it works. But they never made anything that worked. I think they delivered a small handful of drones.
Yeah.
None of them worked. One of the guys even took it to the founder of the company and sat with him and said, make it work. And he couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
And it
Doesn't
just
sound
comes down
promising.
to the great salesman, but then they don't bring in the expertise to execute the project.
Yeah.
And it's a real shame.
Pretty short-sighted.
Absolutely. But cartridges, I love carts. I did love cartridges. I love the SNES.
Yeah.
I love the N64. I love the Mega Drive. Cartridge machines, for me, there's something really cool about slotting a cartridge in.
There is, definitely.
And for people who really missed out on that, you're missing a trick. It's worth going back, picking up a SNES, cheap, off of eBay, and just buying 4 or 5 cheap games and playing it.
Yeah, there is something really cool about slotting and ejecting it as well.
Well, you can get SCART cables for SNES as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd say it's one of the easiest retro consoles to buy because you can buy the SCART cable, and a lot of modern TVs still have SCART.
What's not cool about cartridges is storing them.
There's definitely a physical space issue there.
Yeah.
But it's worth it just for the experience, just to visit it, have a play, and just sell it back on eBay. You'll probably even sell it for exactly what you paid for it. So for the experience, it's worth picking one up. But did you see, I think this was like quite a few months ago now, I think I might have even mentioned it on the podcast, but the person who created the cartridge games for the iPhone?
No. That doesn't ring any bells.
Did we not talk about this on the podcast?
Oh, hang on, I think we did, yeah.
It plugged in through the headphone jack.
Yes, yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, and it was a game. That's a nice sort of nod back to how games used to be.
Yeah.
But I think very limited. You know, do you really want this thing dangling out your iPhone?
Yeah.
To play a game? No.
The only way I could see it having any advantage would be, excuse me, if on the device that went in plugged into your phone there was a controller.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, like you can get those little, what are they called, arcades?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you slotted the cart in.
If there was just a little direction pad on it, that'd be really advantageous.
Oh yeah, if it had like the Game Boy style D-pad and buttons.
Yeah, not even the buttons, to be honest. I mean, you can get away with on-screen buttons to a certain extent, but having the direction pad, I think, is the thing that fails on an on-screen direction pad. Just does not work. I've tried it with a few games; it just does not work. The buttons, not so much of an issue. But the D-pad is the where it really fails, I think. And if you were releasing something like that, if it just had a D-pad on it, that'd be amazing.
Have you ever seen anyone use an iPhone game controller?
I haven't, no. I've seen people using those, you could get little stick-on joysticks, like little thumbsticks, that you would stick on the D-pad, the on-screen D-pad, and it would then work, which I think was some kind of arcanery. It's got to be magic, hasn't it? I don't see how that actually physically works. But yeah, I've seen people use those, but I've never seen somebody have one of the ones that slots. You know, you've got to end up with buttons and a D-pad on either side.
Yeah, I don't even know anyone that has like an iPad video game controller.
Yeah, no, me either.
I was going to pick one up for the Apple TV.
Yeah.
For the kids to play games, but I never got round to it. I don't know, it just doesn't seem... I think it's because everyone's gone down the path of touch-based games.
Yeah.
That there's never really been a need for it. And I think as the Apple TV progresses, perhaps we will see gamepad usage gaining popularity. Because then, if you're creating a game for the Apple TV, it's going to work on the iPad.
Yeah, it will definitely, yeah.
So then all of a sudden you've got a pad that can play across all those 3 platforms.
Yeah.
So maybe at some point in the future. Any other tech news this week that's piqued your interest, Neil?
Yeah, I thought the little interesting one was the Sony smartphone that has got a DAB radio built into it.
I think it's an LG smartphone, I think.
Oh, is it LG? I thought you said Sony earlier.
No, I think it's LG, but yeah, the DAB. Yeah, it is cool. We don't have to use data. We can listen to music. That seems like, 6 years ago when he didn't use data to listen to music. We've gone back 6 years. And we no longer need to use data. Now, it is interesting, and I didn't realise, a lot of the chipsets that smartphones use.
Yeah.
Do you know they've actually there's an FM radio chip?
Yes. Yeah.
They just don't turn it on.
Yeah.
And I can't understand why don't we use this? But it's obviously because they've all got the fingers in streaming audio, so why give people a free way to listen to music? Yeah. The issue, because Samsung invested in Tidal, Apple in Apple Music. Maybe it's just because LG don't actually have investments in an audio streaming that they're willing to allow you to listen to music through different means.
Yeah. Because there was a time that having an FM radio on your phone was like, wow, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Because it meant you could listen to music on the go that you didn't have on your phone, because they used to build them into the proper old candy bar phones, didn't they? The feature phones.
Well, the Moto G, I think we've both used Moto Gs. Have an FM radio in, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to see it introduced into more phones, but I just don't see it happening just because I've got too much money tied up in streaming music.
Yeah. Yeah, and not only the streaming music, but there are lots of apps that have kind of built up around the fact that, if you want to listen to radio, digital radio, here's an app you can do it through. So there are, not hundreds, but there are a lot of apps on the app stores on both of them where you can tune into different radio stations using your data.
Well, I use TuneIn Radio.
Yeah, that's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, I use that on the Sonos. And then on the phone, I use iPlay Radio. Whereas if I had an FM receiver or DAB, then I'd be able to use those instead of using my data.
Yeah.
So no, it's, let's hope the DAB... It's just an additional feature. I don't think it's an essential one, but it's a nice additional feature.
Yeah, it's not like a killer feature, but it's just a nice little bonus.
I'll tell you the news story that I did like. The 6 17-gram robots that are able to pull an 1,800-kilogram car.
That just seems insane.
Yeah. I was like, how is that even possible? And apparently it's by coordinating the micro movements of the robots.
Right.
Rather than, going tug, 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 tug.
Yeah.
You'd sort of time it perfectly, and then, it can pull an 1,800-kilogram car.
Yeah.
And they've designed a robot that can pull 2,000 times its own weight.
Whoa.
It's... the robots, man, they're going to come to take us. You expect this big robot that's bigger than a human to come get you. Apparently, a 17-gram micro robot could come and drag you out of your house.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, God, I'd be interested to see if that scales, how much could a big robot move?
Yeah, definitely. If it scales up exactly, that'd be crazy.
Hopefully it doesn't scale exactly, otherwise it's a very scary future once this AlphaGo artificial intelligence gets put in inside a 50-kilogram robot. Yeah, it's on its way. But I think that's it for me this week. I have no other burning tech news that I can think of.
Well, I've got a little bit of fluff to go on the end, and
go on, then.
I've got an update from last week's episode as well.
Oh my gosh, go.
We'll go with the fluff first. There's a new Ghostbusters film on its way.
Yes.
Which is getting varied reactions, but obviously the classics are classics. there's on tested.com, they have worked with a guy who has designed a version of the trap from Ghostbusters, from the original movies, and made a 3D printable kit. So if you get the designs, download the designs, stick them into your 3D printer, and it will print off all the parts, or most of the parts. I think it's like 8/10 of the parts. And then there's a few other bits of electronics and things that you can then put into that, which the guy sells on his Etsy store.
Yeah.
So you can make this complete trap with pedal, and rather fabulously, when you press the pedal, the gates open for the trap. The lights inside light up and flash, and smoke rises up out of it.
So can you buy it as an entire kit, including 3D printed parts from its Etsy store?
I'm not entirely certain on that. I think you might be able to buy the entire thing assembled.
Right, okay.
Rather than just buying the individual parts unassembled. But what I thought was quite cool about it is, in order to make the smoke, it uses a vaping kit.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
That is cool.
I just thought it was a really cool little idea. But built into the printable bits is actually channels for the smoke to run along, so that the smoke actually dissipates evenly around the trap rather than just coming from one source. So this guy spent a ton of time on it. And the one, if you go to tested.com, you can see a video of it. But he's painted it all up and everything. It looks fantastic.
That's what 3D printers are for.
Yeah, definitely. Nostalgia.
Yeah. I nearly bought the Ghostbusters original soundtrack on vinyl, Slimer Green.
Oh, nice.
Oh no, but it was a bit slightly out of my price range. I was like, oh, can I afford it? It's cheap if you don't want it in Slimer Green, but of course you need it. In fact, I think it's even glow in the dark Slimer Green.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's no other way of having it, is there?
Yeah, if you're not going to have it glow in the dark Slimer Green, it's not even worth owning.
Exactly. And the update, we spoke briefly and weirdly about voice recorders, and we hypothesised based on our knowledge of TV shows on what they use in mortuaries.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually got an update from somebody who works in a mortuary.
Okay, go.
And they apologise for it not being a very techie answer. But they basically... Well, they said because obviously everything needs to be cleanable and disinfectable, some people do use old school tape dictaphones still.
Yeah.
But they struggle to get suppliers for those now. Some use electronic dictaphones, which you then dock into a computer system and it gets uploaded. Some use Bluetooth devices.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that you see on TV apparently are quite expensive and not practical. And most mortuary technicians use a paper and pen.
So I was right when I was joking at the use of paper and pen.
So thanks for that. Thanks for that, Becky. It's an interesting look into the life of a mortuary technician.
Well, it's not like a bit of lo-fi. Well, I've got an update on audio recorders.
Oh, go on then.
I bought, the expensive Sony one.
Yeah.
And then I was just surfing around on Amazon, and then I found an entire solid state one.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Sony solid state, but it's removable memory. So all built in, 8 gig, far less buttons, £11.
11 quid?
11 quid.
That's crazy.
So, because I actually tested the voice on recording feature on the Sony one, and it was terrible. It did not work at all.
Oh, no.
So, to be honest, it's getting sent back. It was that bad. So now I'm yet to try this random branded audio recorder.
Yeah.
But it's a lot smaller. It weighs 1/4 of what the Sony one does.
Wow.
It has all the exact same features. So I really just need to get some testing time with it. I just don't have time because I've been too busy accepting deliveries of sporks. I ordered 4 different types of spork to see which spork I prefer. It's because when I go to the desert, you need, well, a spork's just the best sort of food utensil to take.
I guess so, yeah.
And then, because I like reading tech spec sheets, and I got, you get into reading the spec sheets of everything.
Yeah.
I then began to try and find the lightest spork I could.
And are these stainless steel sporks, plastic sporks? What are we talking here?
Titanium.
Oh, of course. Stainless steel. How foolish of me.
Do you know how heavy stainless steel is? So not only that, I've got titanium sporks.
Right.
I did buy some plastic ones. They are very light, but, they're not titanium. And then I was also then just looking around for titanium stuff, and I thought, well, if I'm going to go titanium, I might as well buy a titanium cup. So now I've got a titanium drinking cup for a cup of tea.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, now I need biscuits to dip in my cup of tea.
So you've got titanium biscuits?
No, so now I'm trying to find some biscuits that come in small packets. Then I thought, how am I going to get the tea bag out of my teacup? Because you worry about these things when you're in a desert and you're trying to survive, Neil.
Yeah.
And I thought the only way I can possibly get that tea bag out is if I buy a titanium spoon.
Why can't you just use your titanium spork?
Because I'll have eaten my curry with my titanium spork, and I don't want curry in my cup of tea. I don't want curry tea. So I also bought a titanium spoon to take the tea bag out of my titanium cup.
Have you seen the titanium drinking straws?
I can't think of a use, otherwise I would buy titanium drinking straws. I nearly bought titanium food bowls.
Right.
But unsurprisingly very expensive.
No.
Yeah, seriously. And also, I just thought, I'm buying too much titanium here. So I did cheap out and buy a plastic bowl. So I have a plastic food bowl, but I do have titanium cups, titanium cutlery, and I'm leaving the titanium. Do I have anything else titanium?
To be honest, I can't. Can you imagine eating titanium, like eating out of a titanium bowl with a titanium spork? It's just me scrapey and weird, and
I don't know, because it's been really nicely polished, the titanium stuff. You'll have to have a play with it when you come round, because it is actually really nice. I nearly ate tonight's dinner with it at home with my titanium cutlery. Just use it, but I'll give it to the plastic ones. I forgot what you call it, but do you know when it's a spork one end, and it's a knife spoon the other end? So what do you call a knife spoon? What's that?
Spife.
Is it a spife?
A noon? It's either a spife or a noon, isn't it?
Well, it's that the other end. But I'm not too sure why I'm going to need to cut my sort of rice pudding or my porridge or indeed my curry up. So the knife's not really going to get much use, to be honest. It's just the spoon and spork.
I'm not convinced that a spife is a good thing anyway, because you don't really want to be sticking something that's part knife in your mouth.
That's a good point. I don't think it's razor sharp, Neil. It's just ever so slightly
serrated, yeah.
I'll have to check now, because maybe the knife is on the spork bit. Because, to be honest, when the delivery came today and there was all the titanium stuff in the plastic kind of got thrown to one side. I started playing with the titanium stuff. But I'm getting so many deliveries every day that, to be honest, I'm not even getting a good chance to play with everything.
No.
Because I've got loads of torches came today. Because rather I'd leave, even though I can't see, I've still got to carry torches. Even though I can't see, right, I've got to carry 2 torches, a compass.
Because these are the rules of the race.
These are the rules of the race.
Right.
I've got to take a compass
Yeah.
a signalling mirror,
Right.
flashing lights. I'm like, what am I going to do with all of this stuff? It really seems pointless, but you're not allowed to start the race unless you have the compulsory kit. So I've literally had to buy all this stuff, and I've been buying the lightest I could find, because to me it's pointless to have it. But then, of course, when you buy the lightest of anything, as it gets lighter, the price increases.
Ugh.
So I've ended up buying like a really expensive compass, a reasonably expensive signalling mirror. I think it was like 20 quid for a signalling mirror. And I'm just like, I'm not even going to use any of these things.
Yeah.
I was half tempted to keep it all in its packaging and then just send it back.
Yeah.
So I've got a really expensive lightweight compass.
Nice.
That is just going to sit in the bottom of my bag and never be used. To be honest, when I finish the race, then again, if I donate it to someone, then next time I enter one of these type races, I'm going to need to buy it again.
Yeah, true.
But
maybe just put it to one side.
Maybe we'll do updates about my desert technologies. I tell you what I did do. I'm sure we've probably been talking a long time now.
Yeah, we're going to have to wrap it up soon.
Okay, this is really quick. I made the rookiest of rookiest mistakes.
Okay.
I bought 2 torches, 2 brands, AAA batteries. So I bought lithium AAAs. Have you ever seen lithium AAAs?
Don't think so.
I didn't even know you could get AA's and AAAs and stuff with lithium. Very expensive, but in certain use cases, they last 7 times as long.
All right.
And they're not as susceptible to temperature changes. So because the temperature's going to drop to 0 or below,
yeah,
they're still going to perform incredibly well. So I basically bought a lot of lithium AAAs. So the batteries haven't arrived yet. The first torch arrived yesterday. The second set of torches arrived today. Opened it up, got the batteries out. They don't take AAA.
Typical.
Yeah, so I misread it, and I bought loads of AAA lithium batteries, which now are probably not going to get used.
No. Never mind. Okay, well, on that note, we're going to have to wrap it up for today. Again, you can find us in all the usual places. If you've got any comments or any updates like we had this week, you can always contact us in the usual places. We're on Twitter at Enthusicast Tech. We're on Facebook, Tech Enthusiast. There's the website, techenthusiast.com. You can listen to the podcast on YouTube, and obviously you can find it on RSS and through the Apple thing, which name escapes me. Why have I not thought? iTunes, that's what it's called. So that's it for another week. I'm Neil.
And I'm Simon.
See you next week.